the world in which we now live is that the internet itself has evolved incredibly fast in its short life and become a much richer and much better experience. And equally, that's on the fixed side, but on the mobile internet likewise is suddenly offering up all sorts of new and exciting possibilities, which I think we're all beginning to experience. And for me, the big issues are not the sorts of issues that Jim worries about, but they are the issues of, is there going to be enough spectrum available such that the mobile industry can develop in the way that it would like to develop, and in the way in which consumers are keen to use mobile devices. And on the fixed side, again, can we find the necessary investment to enable substantial deployment of fibre, which is going to be necessary in Europe as it is elsewhere. So, it's exciting, but there are some big challenges. That is not to suggest that the issue of net neutrality or open internet, there isn't a potential issue there. What we're talking about is access and bottlenecks. And wherever you have bottlenecks, there is a potential issue. People who are in control of the bottleneck can abuse that position, and that is a potential problem. There is, very crudely, there is scope for anti-competitive behaviour. But this is a very, very old problem. It's been the central preoccupation of telecoms regulation throughout almost my entire working career. It was addressed by the Telecoms Act. It was addressed, not just one Telecoms Act, but several Telecoms Acts. It's been addressed by the European framework. It was addressed by the Communications Act, and it's addressed by the framework review that finished recently in Europe. And the truth is, what we have is and I don't speak as a particular fan of European legislation, but we have a fantastically good piece of legislation in Europe that flows down to national legislation, which enables us to address competition problems in a proportionate and timely fashion. And therefore, I'm just to be, I'm sure you're already clear where I'm coming from, but therefore the notion of intrusive regulation seems to me to be wrong. Whereas the approach that Ofcom is taking, I think, is a very sensible approach, where they're looking to encourage transparency and they're looking to encourage the industry itself to come up with approaches to that make sense. And indeed, considerable progress is being made down this particular track. So, in essence, I believe that we have the tools to deal with the issue, and that we should be very, very careful about going beyond what is currently contemplated, for the very good reason that that could compromise the ability of the industry to evolve and to invest and to innovate in all the things that I think we all, all sides of all people around this table would agree is what we're trying to do. And I would contrast, just to finish up, I would contrast two statements. One made by Ed Vaizey, which I agree with, which is that the agreement which he's seeking to achieve to manage and maintain the open internet should be guided by three simple principles. And those of you who follow this will know what those principles are. But the first is that users should be able to access all legal content. Second, there should be no discrimination against content providers on the basis of commercial rivalry. And finally, traffic management policies should be clear and transparent. That seems to me to be a perfectly sensible, proportionate response to a potential issue. Now, dare I say, I'm going to finish by doing something which I feel very nervous about, which is I'm going to criticize Sir Tim Berners-Lee. He, in the same press release emanating from the meeting that several people referred to with Ed Vaizey, said that while transparency about traffic management policy is a good thing, Best practices should also include neutrality of the net. The web has grown so fast precisely because we have two independent markets, one for connectivity and the other for content and applications. Now, I think you have to be really, really careful about the use of language. And the truth is, these markets are not and never have been completely separate. There's the market for connectivity and the one for content applications. If, as seems likely, the demand for content and application goes through the roof, it has gone through the roof, it will continue to go through the roof, then that has implications, inevitably, for the connectivity market. And we cannot ignore those. And that means that there have to be proper incentives on the people who own the connectivity, the mobile operators, the fixed operators, to continue to invest.